Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in today. You are listening to Real English Voices, and I am Tom.
And I am Ria. It is so good to be back here with you all. Today we have a topic that I think is going to resonate with literally every single person listening to this right now. It is something we get asked about constantly, isn't it, Tom?
It really is. It is probably the number one question in our inbox. And that question is, how do I practice speaking English when I have nobody to talk to? It is the classic problem. You want to get fluent, you want to sound natural, but you're sitting in your room, maybe you live alone, or maybe you're just too shy to go out and find a conversation partner. So what do you do?
Exactly. And I think there's this huge misconception that you need a teacher or a native speaker sitting right in front of you to make any progress. But the truth is, some of the best work you will ever do for your English happens when you are completely by yourself.
I completely agree. In fact, I would argue that practicing alone is sometimes better than practicing with others, at least in the beginning. It gives you this safe space to make mistakes without feeling judged. You know that feeling when you're trying to say a sentence and you just freeze because you're afraid of looking stupid? When you're alone, that fear disappears.
That is such a good point. The fear of judgment is massive. When I was learning French, I remember being terrified to open my mouth in class. But when I was alone in my kitchen cooking dinner, oh, I was fluent. I was having full debates with myself.
Wait, you were debating yourself in French? That is amazing. Who usually won the debates?
Usually the French version of me won because she was much more confident. But honestly, that's the secret, right? It's about getting comfortable with the sound of your own voice in a new language. So, Tom, let's break this down. If someone is listening right now and they're sitting in their room feeling a bit silly about talking to the walls, where should they start?
Well, I think we have to address the awkwardness first. Because it is awkward, let's be real. Walking around your house, talking to nobody, does feel a little bit crazy at first. You feel like people are going to think you've lost your mind. But you have to get over that hump. You have to embrace the weirdness.
Embrace the weirdness. I like that. It's like you're an actor rehearsing for a play. Actors talk to themselves all the time and nobody thinks they're crazy. They get awards for it. So maybe that's the mindset shift we need. You're not a crazy person muttering in the corner. You're a performer rehearsing your lines.
Exactly. And the first technique I always recommend is what I call the narrator. It's very simple. You just narrate your life as it is happening. You become the voiceover of your own movie. So you wake up in the morning and instead of just thinking about coffee, you say it out loud. You say, okay, I'm getting out of bed now. I'm walking to the kitchen. I'm reaching for the kettle.
I love this technique. It sounds so simple, but it's actually really challenging because you realize how many everyday words you do not know. Like, you might know the word for kitchen, but do you know the word for the handle of the fridge or the sound the coffee maker makes? It forces you to look at your environment in a completely different way.
Right. And the beauty of it is that nobody's correcting you, so you don't have to stop every 2 seconds. You just keep the flow going. If you don't know a word, you just describe it, or you skip it and look it up later. The goal isn't perfection, it's continuity. It's about keeping the engine running.
I used to do this in the shower. The shower is the best place to practice English. The acoustics are great, nobody can hear you over the water, and you're just there with your thoughts. I would plan out my entire day in English. I would say, okay, first I'm going to dry my hair, then I need to find that blue shirt, but oh no, the blue shirt is in the laundry. What am I going to wear? And suddenly, you're practicing future tense, you're practicing conditionals, you're practicing vocabulary for clothes, all before you have even had breakfast.
The shower is legendary for language learning. I think more people have become fluent in the shower than in classrooms. But you touched on something interesting there, Ria. You mentioned emotions, like, oh no, the shirt is in the laundry, that frustration. I think that's a huge part of speaking alone that people miss. They tend to speak like robots. I am walking, I am sitting, I am eating. But real language has feeling.
Yes, that is so crucial. If you are just robotic about it, your brain doesn't really connect with the language. You have to act it out. If you are angry, sound angry. If you are excited, sound excited, even if you are just talking to your cat. By the way, pets are excellent listeners. My dog knows more French than my husband does because I talk to the dog constantly.
That is hilarious. Does your dog respond in French?
He looks at me with a very French expression, very judgmental, so I think he understands. But seriously, having a target, even if it is an inanimate object or a pet, helps. It makes it feel more like communication and less like drilling. But Tom, what about when people run out of things to say? You can only narrate making a sandwich so many times before it gets boring. What do you do then?
That is a great question because boredom is the enemy of consistency. Once you get bored, you stop. So you have to level up. You have to move from narration to opinion. This is the next stage. Instead of just describing what is happening, describe what you think about something.
Oh, I like that. Give me an example.
Okay, so let's say you just watched a movie, or maybe you just watched a YouTube video. As soon as it finishes, turn it off and give a 2-minute review out loud. Imagine you're a film critic. What did you like? What did you hate? Was the acting good? Was the story confusing?
That is brilliant because that forces you to use more complex language. You have to use connecting words like however, although, on the other hand. You can't just say, the movie was good. You have to explain why.
Exactly. And you can do this with anything. Read a news headline and say what you think about it. Listen to a song and explain why it made you feel sad. This is how you bridge the gap between knowing vocabulary and actually using it to express your personality. Because that is what fluency is, right? It isn't just knowing words. It is being able to show the world who you are through those words.
I think that is the deepest part of language learning. We all have this fear that in a foreign language, we lose our personality. We become a simpler version of ourselves. I can be witty and sarcastic in my native language, but in a new language, I feel like a child. Practicing your opinions alone helps you regain that identity. You can practice being sarcastic, you can practice being intellectual, you can practice being funny, even if you're the only one laughing.
And you should laugh. You have to have fun with it. If you stumble over a word, laugh at yourself. If you make a sentence that sounds completely ridiculous, enjoy it. One thing I like to do is role-playing interviews. I pretend I am a famous celebrity on a talk show.
No way, you do that too? I thought I was the only one.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sitting on my couch, but in my head, I'm on the biggest talk show in America. The host asks me, "So, Tom, tell us about your new book." And I just go off. I invent this entire life. I talk about my struggles, my success, my imaginary travels. It is incredibly fun, but it's also high-level language practice because you're dealing with hypothetical situations and storytelling.
I love that so much. It sounds like play, not study. And that's when the magic happens, when you forget you're studying. But Tom, I have to ask you about the scariest technique of all, the one that makes everyone cringe, recording yourself.
Oh boy, the heavy hitter. Yes, recording yourself. It is painful. It is physically painful to listen to your own voice recorded. I don't care who you are, nobody likes it. But, and this is a big but, it's the fastest way to improve, period.
Why do you think it is so effective beyond the torture of it?
It's the feedback loop. When we speak in real time, our brain is so busy finding words and grammar that we can't really hear how we sound. We think we're pronouncing things correctly, but we aren't. When you record yourself and listen back, you become the observer. You hear the hesitation. You hear the pronunciation errors. You hear where the rhythm is off. It's like looking in a mirror. You can't fix your hair if you don't look in the mirror. You can't fix your speaking if you don't hear your voice.
That is a perfect analogy. It's audio feedback. So how do you suggest people do this without getting discouraged? Because I feel like if I recorded myself and heard all those mistakes, I might just want to quit.
Start small. Do not record a 10-minute speech. Record 30 seconds, just 30 seconds. Pick a paragraph from a book, read it out loud, record it. Then listen to the original audiobook, if you have it, and compare. Or just talk about your day for 1 minute. Listen to it once, note one thing you want to improve, and then delete it. You don't have to save it for posterity. Burn the evidence if you want.
Burn the evidence. I like that. It lowers the stakes. It is just for you in that moment. Speaking of mimicking audiobooks, we have to talk about shadowing. This is a term that gets thrown around a lot in the language learning community. Can you explain what shadowing actually is for our listeners who might not know?
Sure. Shadowing is basically the art of imitation, but it is active imitation. It isn't just listening and then repeating after a pause. That is the old school way. Shadowing is trying to speak along with the speaker at almost the same time. Like a shadow following a person, you are half a second behind them.
So you're listening and speaking simultaneously.
Yes, and it is chaotic at first. Your brain has to process the incoming sound and produce the outgoing sound at the same time. But what it does is it bypasses your analytical brain. You stop thinking about grammar rules and you just ride the wave of the rhythm. You copy their intonation, their speed, their pauses. You are literally borrowing their mouth.
Borrowing their mouth. That is a slightly creepy image, Tom, but I get what you mean. It's about muscle memory. You're training your tongue and lips to move in ways they aren't used to.
Exactly. It's gym for your mouth. If you want to get muscles, you lift weights. If you want to speak English, you have to move your mouth muscles. Shadowing forces you to keep up. You can't slow down to think. You have to match the pace. It's incredible for improving pronunciation and fluency.
I find shadowing works best with material you actually enjoy. Don't shadow a boring textbook dialogue. Shadow a podcast you love, or a YouTuber, or a scene from a movie. If you like the way an actor speaks, try to become them. Mimic their attitude. If they're being sarcastic, be sarcastic. If they're whispering, whisper.
Yes, the attitude is key. English, like any language, has a melody. If you just say the words with the wrong melody, it sounds off. It's like playing the right notes on a piano, but with the wrong timing. It's still the song, but it sounds terrible. Shadowing teaches you the music of English.
The music of English. I love that. It really is like music. There are ups and downs, loud parts and soft parts, and when you practice alone, you can exaggerate that. You can go over the top. When I was practicing English, I would sometimes shout sentences just to feel the power of them, or I would whisper them really fast. Playing with the volume and speed helps you feel more in control.
That is such a good tip. Varying the parameters, fast, slow, loud, soft. It breaks the monotony. And honestly, speaking of breaking monotony, we have to talk about the trap of thinking you need to be perfect. When you're practicing alone, nobody's grading you, there's no exam, so why are we so hard on ourselves?
Oh, the perfectionism trap. It's deadly. We're our own worst critics. We stumble over one word and we tell ourselves, oh, I'm terrible at this. I'll never be fluent. But if a friend made that mistake, we wouldn't care at all. We need to treat ourselves with the same kindness we would treat a friend.
Absolutely. You have to be your own best friend in this journey. If you mess up, just shrug and move on, or correct it and move on. Do not dwell on it. The goal of speaking alone is building stamina. It's about being able to speak for 5 minutes, 10 minutes without getting exhausted. It's mental endurance.
Mental endurance is the perfect word for it. It's exhausting to speak a second language. Your brain is burning so much glucose. That's why you get a headache after a long conversation. Practicing alone builds up that fitness so that when you're in a real conversation, you don't get tired as quickly.
Right, it's training. You're running laps around the track so that you can play the soccer game on the weekend. The solo practice is the training, the real conversation is the game. And you can't just show up to the game without training and expect to win.
I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier, which is thinking in English. Because speaking starts with thinking. If you're translating everything in your head from your native language, you're always going to be slow. How do we bridge that gap from translating to thinking?
This is the holy grail, thinking in English. It's difficult, but it is possible. And it starts with naming. Look around the room right now. Pick 3 objects. Do not say the word in your native language. Go straight to the English word. Lamp, desk, microphone.
So you're cutting out the middleman.
Exactly. You're rewiring the connection. Instead of seeing the object, thinking the native word, and then translating, you want to see the object and trigger the English word directly. Once you can do that with objects, you start doing it with simple phrases. Instead of thinking, I'm hungry, translate, I am hungry, you just think, I am hungry.
It takes conscious effort, doesn't it? You have to catch yourself. I used to set an alarm on my phone. Every few hours, it would go off, and that was my cue to switch my internal monologue to English for 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. It was hard at first. My brain wanted to switch back, but over time, it became automatic.
I love the alarm idea. It is a trigger. And eventually, you don't need the alarm. You will find yourself walking down the street and realized you have been thinking in English for the last 10 minutes without trying. That is the best feeling in the world. That is when you know you are really getting it.
It's like flying. You suddenly realize your feet aren't touching the ground anymore. But Tom, let's be honest with our listeners. There are days when you just do not want to do it. You're tired, work was hard, and the last thing you want to do is talk to yourself in English. How do you stay motivated when the excitement wears off?
That is the reality check. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes. You cannot rely on motivation. You have to rely on habit. It has to be part of your routine, like brushing your teeth. You don't need motivation to brush your teeth. You just do it.
So how do we make it a toothbrush habit?
You hook it on to something you already do. We call this habit stacking. So if you make coffee every morning, that's your trigger. While the coffee is brewing, you speak English. That's your rule. No English, no coffee.
Wow, high stakes. No English, no coffee. I would be very fluent very quickly because I need my coffee.
Exactly. You have to attach it to something inevitable. Or when you're driving to work, the car is your English zone. As soon as you close the door, boom, you're in an English-speaking country. You talk to the other drivers, you talk to the radio, you talk to yourself.
I do that in traffic. I complain about the traffic in English. It's a very therapeutic. Why are you stopping? Go! The light is green. It feels good to vent in a different language. It actually makes the traffic less stressful.
See, you're solving two problems at once, road rage and language fluency. But really, it's about integration. If you treat English as this separate thing you have to go study at a desk, you will resist it. If you treat it as just a layer you add to your daily life, it becomes effortless. You're not finding time for English, you're just living your life in English.
Living your life in English. That's the goal. And I think we should talk about the resources that can help with this, because even though we're talking about practicing alone, we have tools. We have technology. We're living in the golden age of language learning.
We really are. Our smartphones are incredible tools. We talked about the voice recorder, but what about Siri or Google Assistant or Alexa? Talk to them. Ask them questions. If they understand you, you know your pronunciation is decent. If they say, sorry, I didn't catch that, well, try again.
That's a tough crowd, though. Siri can be very critical. She doesn't have much patience, but it's a great test. And there are apps where you can record yourself and get AI feedback now, too. But I still think the most powerful tool is your own imagination.
I agree. Technology is a supplement, but your brain is the engine. I want to share a story about a student of mine. He was incredibly shy. He would never speak in class, but he told me he loved soccer. So I told him to commentate a soccer match in his head while he was watching it on TV. Just mute the TV and be the commentator.
That's intense. Commentators speak so fast.
They do, and he struggled at first, but he loved the game so much that he got into it. He started shouting, he passes the ball, he shoots, go! And slowly he started adding more detail. What a beautiful pass. The defense is looking weak today. 6 months later, this guy who couldn't say hello in class was speaking with this incredible rhythm and confidence because he found a context where he felt strong.
That is such a beautiful story. He found his voice through his passion. I think that's the key. Find what you love and do it in English. If you love cooking, be a TV chef in your kitchen. If you love makeup, be a beauty guru in the mirror. If you love gaming, stream your gameplay to an imaginary audience.
Yes, do not bore yourself to fluency. It won't work. Entertain yourself to fluency. Make it something you look forward to. If speaking English feels like a chore, you're doing it wrong. It should feel like a creative outlet.
I think a lot of people feel like they need permission to speak, like they need a teacher to tell them, okay, now you can speak. But you don't need permission. You have a voice. You have the right to use it, even if it's imperfect, especially if it's imperfect.
That is a powerful message, Ria. You don't need permission. You are the CEO of your own learning journey. You call the shots. If you want to spend 20 minutes talking to your houseplants about politics, you do that. And you know what? Your houseplants will be the most educated plants in the neighborhood.
They will grow better with all that carbon dioxide you are breathing on them. It is a win-win.
Tom and Ria, saving the planet one English sentence at a time. But seriously, I want to address the plateau, because there comes a time when you have been practicing alone for a while and you feel like you aren't improving anymore. You're saying the same things over and over. How do we break through that ceiling?
That is the danger zone, when you get comfortable. You stop stretching. To break the plateau, you have to introduce friction. You have to make it hard again. If narrating your day is easy, stop doing it. Pick a complex topic. Try to explain how a car engine works. Try to summarize a philosophy book. Try to explain the plot of the movie Inception.
Oh, nobody can explain the plot of Inception, not even in their native language. That is the ultimate test. But you're right, you have to seek out difficulty. We naturally want to be comfortable, but learning happens in discomfort. If you aren't struggling a little bit, you aren't learning. You're just reviewing.
Exactly. Reviewing is fine for maintenance, but for growth, you need struggle. You need that moment where you're searching for a word and you can't find it, so you have to talk around it. That struggle is where the neural pathways are built. It's like lifting a heavier weight.
And speaking of talking around words, that is a skill in itself. It's called circumlocution. When you don't know the word for umbrella, you don't stop. You say, the thing you hold over your head when it rains. That is fluency. Fluency isn't knowing every word, it's being able to handle not knowing a word without the conversation breaking down.
Yes, that is so important. I think beginners obsess over vocabulary lists. They think, if I just learn 5,000 words, I'll be fluent. But if you can't connect them, or if you panic when you forget one, you aren't fluent. Practicing alone is the best time to practice circumlocution. Challenge yourself. Describe an object without saying its name. It's a great game.
The thing you hold over your head when it rains. See? I knew exactly what you meant. You communicated the idea. And that's the goal of language, communication, not perfection.
I want to take a moment to acknowledge the emotional side of this again, because it can be lonely. Learning a language is a long road, and when you're doing it alone, sometimes you feel like, is this even worth it? Am I ever going to actually use this?
I hear that. It's easy to lose sight of the big picture. That's why visualization is so powerful. When you're alone in your room practicing, close your eyes for a second. Visualize yourself in the future. See yourself walking into a cafe in London or New York or Sydney. See yourself ordering a coffee, laughing with the barista, making a friend. That version of you is waiting. Every minute you practice alone is a step closer to that reality.
That gave me chills, Tom. It's true. You're building a bridge to your future self. And that future self is going to be so grateful that you spent those awkward moments talking to yourself in the shower. They're going to be so meaningful when you're finally connecting with real people.
And remember, even when you're practicing alone, you aren't really alone. There are millions of people around the world doing exactly the same thing. Millions of people pacing around their kitchens, muttering in English, trying to get the pronunciation of TH right. We're all in this massive, invisible community of learners.
That is a lovely thought. We are the secret society of solo speakers. We should get t-shirts.
We definitely should. Real English voices. I talk to myself and I'm proud of it. It might get us some strange looks on the street, but hey, it's a conversation starter.
So, Tom, let's summarize what we've covered today, because we've thrown a lot of techniques at our listeners. We started with the mindset shift, accepting the awkwardness.
Right, embrace the crazy. Then we talked about the narrator, describing your daily actions. Then we moved to the reviewer, giving your opinion on movies, books, or news to build complex sentences.
We discussed the importance of emotion and acting, not being a robot, using your feelings to cement the language. We talked about having a target, like a pet or an imaginary audience.
We covered the dreaded recording technique, listening to your own voice to correct errors, and shadowing, mimicking native speakers to learn rhythm and intonation.
We talked about thinking in English to cut out the translation process, and habit stacking, tying your practice to daily routines like coffee or driving.
And finally, pushing through the plateau by challenging yourself with difficult topics and visualization. It is a comprehensive toolkit. You don't have to do all of these every day. Pick one, try it for a week, see how it feels. Then try another.
Variety is key. Keep it fresh, keep it fun. And honestly, the most important thing is just to open your mouth. You cannot learn to speak by reading. You cannot learn to speak by listening. You can only learn to speak by speaking.
It is a physical act. You have to move the muscles. It's like learning to swim. You can read every book about swimming, but until you jump in the water and start kicking, you aren't a swimmer. You're just a student of swimming.
So, jump in the water. The water's fine, and you are the lifeguard, so you are safe.
I like that metaphor. Before we wrap up, Ria, do you have any final words of encouragement for that person listening right now who is maybe feeling a bit shy or stuck?
I would say trust the process. Language learning is not a straight line. It's a messy, winding road with ups and downs. Some days you will feel like a genius. Other days you will feel like you know nothing. That is normal. Do not let the bad days stop you. Just keep showing up. Keep talking. Your voice matters, and the world wants to hear it. But first, you have to hear it yourself.
Beautifully said, Ria. Your voice matters. And to everyone listening, we believe in you. We know you can do this. You have the tools, you have the motivation, and now you have the techniques.
So, here's your homework for today. As soon as this podcast finishes, do not just take off your headphones and go back to silence. Take 1 minute, just 1 minute, and tell yourself what you thought about this episode out loud in English.
Tell us if you liked it. Tell us if we talk too much. Tell us if you're going to try the shower technique. Whatever it is, say it out loud. That's step one.
And if you want to share your progress with us, you know where to find us. But for now, the conversation is between you and, well, you.
Thank you so much for joining us on Real English Voices. It has been a pleasure talking to you and talking to you, Ria.
Always a pleasure, Tom. Happy practicing, everyone.
Keep speaking, keep learning, and we will see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Pause. Ria, are we still recording?
I think so. Why?
I just realized I actually have to go do that laundry I was talking about earlier. My blue shirt really is dirty.
See? Life imitates art. You can narrate it while you do it. I'm putting the shirt in the washing machine.
I'm pouring the detergent.
I'm pressing the start button.
I am wondering why I have so many clothes.
I am regretting buying this shirt because it requires ironing.
Oh, don't even get me started on ironing. That is a vocabulary lesson for another day. Ironing board, steam, wrinkles.
Wrinkles. That's a hard word to pronounce with the W and the R.
Wrinkles, yeah. Good luck practicing that one in the mirror, everyone. Watch your face while you say it. You have to really round your lips.
Wrinkles.
Wrinkles.
We're just saying wrinkles back and forth now.
This is what we mean by embracing the weirdness, folks. If you can sit in a room and say wrinkles 10 times without feeling too silly, you're ready for fluency.
Honestly, repetition is underrated. We think we learn a word once and we own it, but you need to say it, what, 50 times, 100 times before it becomes natural?
At least, and in different contexts. Wrinkles on a shirt, wrinkles on a face, a wrinkle in time.
Ah, nice reference, a wrinkle in time. Idioms are the next level. Once you're comfortable speaking alone, start throwing in idioms. It's raining cats and dogs.
Please don't use that one. Nobody actually uses that one anymore.
I know, it's the cliché textbook example. But you know what I mean. Break a leg, hit the books.
Bite the bullet. That's a good one for practicing alone. You just have to bite the bullet and start speaking.
Right. Use the idioms in your narration. I'm tired, but I'm going to hit the hay.
Hit the hay. I love that one. It sounds so violent. Hitting the hay.
Apparently, farmers were very aggressive sleepers. But seriously, playing with idioms is fun because they're inherently imagery-based. It helps with the visualization we talked about.
It does. And it makes you sound so much more native. If you can use an idiom correctly in the right moment, people go, whoa, okay, your English is serious.
And you can practice that timing alone. You can set up the joke for yourself. You can set up the situation.
Tom, do you ever argue with yourself in English? Like genuinely argue?
Oh, constantly. If I have a decision to make, like, should I buy this new gadget? One voice says, it is too expensive, Tom, you don't need it. The other voice says, but it has features, it is an investment.
And you do this out loud?
Out loud, pace around the living room, hand gestures, the whole thing. It helps me think. It actually helps me make better decisions because I have to articulate the logic.
That is actually a really good point. Speaking out loud forces you to organize your thoughts. When thoughts are just in your head, they're messy. They're just feelings and abstract concepts. Putting them into words gives them structure.
Logic requires language. You can't really be logical without language. So by debating yourself in English, you are sharpening your critical thinking skills and your language skills at the same time.
2-for-1 deal. We love efficiency.
We do. You know what else is great? Singing.
Singing?
Yes, we talked about shadowing, but singing is like shadowing with a melody provided for you. You don't have to invent the intonation. You just follow the notes.
That is true. And songs stick in your head. Earworms. You can learn so much vocabulary from pop songs.
Beatles songs are great for beginners. She Loves You, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hello, goodbye, simple opposites.
Exactly. And for advanced learners, try rap.
Oh, wow. Rap is the ultimate tongue twister. If you can rap in English, you can speak.
Eminem is basically a C2 level English exam set to a beat. Lose yourself. That is a workout for the mouth. His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy.
There's vomit on his sweater already, mom's spaghetti. See? Past tense, descriptions, rhyme, it has it all.
And speed. The speed is incredible. If you can keep up with that, normal conversation feels like slow motion.
That is the training with weights idea again. Train hard, fight easy. If you can rap, ordering a coffee is a piece of cake.
Piece of cake, another idiom. You are on fire today, Rhea.
I'm just trying to keep up with you, Tom. But yes, singing is joyful, and it connects you to the culture. You understand the references people make.
Culture is huge. Language doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's tied to the people who speak it. By consuming their media, their songs, their movies, you are downloading their culture.
And when you speak alone, you're sort of role-playing that culture. You're trying it on, like a costume, to see if it fits. And eventually, it doesn't feel like a costume anymore. It feels like your clothes.
That's the transition from costume to clothes, from performance to identity.
It takes time. I don't want people to think this happens overnight. It takes years, but the journey is the fun part.
If you focus only on the destination, you'll be miserable. You have to enjoy the hiking.
And the stumbling, and the getting lost, and the talking to the squirrels.
Talk to the squirrels. They're great listeners, too, although they are a bit skittish.
They are, but they don't judge your grammar.
Unless they're British squirrels, they might be a bit posh.
Excuse me, sir, your present perfect tense is atrocious.
I beg your pardon, that acorn is mine.
Okay, we're getting a bit delirious now.
We are. I think that's a sign we've been talking for a while.
But that's good. We're demonstrating stamina.
We are, and we hope you, the listener, are still with us. Maybe you're doing the dishes, maybe you're jogging, maybe you're just staring at the ceiling.
Whatever you're doing, try to describe it now. I'm listening to two crazy people talk about squirrels.
I'm wondering when they'll stop.
I'm feeling motivated to speak.
Hopefully that last one.
Definitely that last one.
Remember, the hardest part is starting, the inertia. Once you start, it's easy to keep going. It's just that first moment of opening your mouth.
The 5-second rule. When you think about speaking, do it within 5 seconds. Don't let your brain talk you out of it. Just count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, speak.
That's a great tip. Bypass the doubt. Action over analysis.
Action over analysis. I'm going to write that down. That's a good motto for life, not just English.
It really is. We spend so much time overthinking. What if I make a mistake? What if I sound weird? Who cares? Just do it.
The world belongs to the doers.
And the speakers,
And the solo speakers.
especially the solo speakers, because they're working hard when nobody's watching, and that's where champions are made.
Okay, now I feel like I need to go run a marathon or something. You're getting me pumped up.
Go run a marathon, but narrate it. Mile 1, I'm feeling good. Mile 2, I regret this.
Mile 3, call an ambulance.
Mile 4, please tell my family I love them.
See, you can practice emergency vocabulary too. It's all useful.
Everything is content. Your life is content. Use it.
All right, Tom. I think we've given them enough to chew on for one day.
I think so too. We don't want to overwhelm them.
Step by step, one word at a time.
One sentence at a time.
One conversation with yourself at a time.
Thank you for listening to Real English Voices.
We really appreciate you being here.
Until next time,
Keep talking.
bye for now.
Cheers.